Blades Ramble are proudly supported by our main channel sponsor, My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. We would not be where we are without the incredible support of John and the team. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information or follow the link in the description below.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is your countdown to kickoff. We're back already. We're back. We've parked it. We've forgotten about Friday night now. It seems like ages, actually. I mean, I know it sort of lingered for a while, but I'm over it. I'm over it. I've dealt with it. It's through my system. We had a couple of shows where we got a chance to talk about it, and that's part of what this is. It's cathartic when we lose and when we sort of get knocked off our sort of momentum, if you like, which I think we were starting to build. And it's enjoying the wins when we can as well. So I love that aspect of it. I think we can balance both sides pretty well on the channel. So yeah, so I haven't advertised this anywhere, and that may sound daft, but that is by design. It's just, I'm going to start doing this with a couple of shows every now and again where I don't let you know when we're coming on, and it's to encourage people who aren't already to please subscribe to the channel. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers, and tap the notification bell because you'll get a notification as to when we're coming on. So if I keep encouraging people via Twitter and things like that, or whatever it is, Instagram, come over to us at YouTube, then there's no incentive for anybody to. It's like my mum when used to get me clothes out for me as a kid, and you know, make them all neat and fold them up and tidy my room, or whatever example you want to give. If she keeps doing that, then I'm not going to learn to get my own clothes out and tidy my own room, am I? Now my wife has a go at me because I leave clothes on the floor. So yeah, apologies as well. I feel like I have to apologise for my tardy appearance. Really, I was going to have a shave this morning, but my daughter Sophie cried when I said I was going to shave. Trim my beard, not shave it off, trim my beard. She cried. Yes, it's nonsensical, but I didn't want to upset my daughter, so I'll wait till she's distracted tomorrow and we'll get it whipped off and down to a reasonable level again. So how are we? Are we ready for the weekend? This is where what did Dermot used to say? Your Saturday night starts right here. Well, this is Derby County preparation, and look, Is this a must win? I don't think we're quite there, because I think it depends whether I suppose it depends whether Preston has knocked all the wind out of your sails and you're back to writing off the season, and you know what will be this year. We'll just get this out of the way, plan for next year. And if that's the case, then what are we doing bothering with Ben Mee? Why are we bothering with Danny Ings? All these sorts of things that you could consider. But you may think, well, it's not a must-win because I think we'll do all right and we'll survive this season. It's just unfortunate that it's petered out that way. But if you're still one of those, if you're a member of the 5PB, or that's 5 Positive Blades who are part of our Platinum group, but if you are a positive blade and you feel like something can still be salvaged from this season, no matter how unlikely that may be, not until it's mathematically impossible kind of guy or gal, then you may feel it's a must-win to get us back on track. And I certainly feel like the players need it, just because of the way that they lost the game on Friday night. I'm a little bit, you know me by now, I'm a bit of a worrier when it comes to stuff like, I'm an overthinker, blah, 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 blah. I'm an overthinker, and I think that's probably why I do tend to ramble on, because I like to get my points across, and I go into a lot of detail about stuff, and I sometimes go off on tangents like I've already done a couple of times tonight. But I think it is, I do worry myself that the players will be affected by the manner in which we lost the game. Not the fact that we lost the game to Preston, who are now 7th in the league and already having a very good season under a well-drilled, well-organised manager that we know all about. More because of we had it in our hands and we chucked it away. There are bright sparks to take from the game, like we talked about on Three Mighty Blades, and we discussed again on Hot Topic, which is our Rambler's own exclusive show that we do as well on the on the channel. We talked about it in terms of like Andre Brooks. Andre Brooks on the left-hand side, I think, looks really good. Callum O'Hare has really stepped up in the absence of Gus Hamer. There were even some discussion about where does Gus Hamer fit back into the side. I think it's acknowledged that everybody wants to try and get Gus Hamer back in the side, but where does he get back in at the moment? Because you don't drop O'Hare. And if Brooks continues in this vein, then you wouldn't want to drop him, would you? I think there's a couple of question marks over a couple of the players, and we'll come to these in my team selection, actually. And what I think Wilder's team will be. Does Harrison Burrows stay in? I think that's a real key decision. Because undoubtedly, certainly in my opinion, I thought it was poor. Really poor against Preston. But had a brilliant 20 minutes against Blackburn, which is what earned him the recall to the side. You've got to say it's harsh on Sam McCallum. I do think the fact that it was 3 games in 6 days played its part. So you can always use the rotation reasoning behind McCallum coming out of the side. But what does he do now? What does he do? Does he pull Burrows out again? Which, for a young player, which a lot of them are young players to be fair, but for a young player after just getting your place back in and one bad performance and you're out again, is that the right message to send? Some may say yes, some may say no. Why is Sariki not in the reckoning anywhere? I find it a little bit perplexing, to be honest. He must not be doing it in training. This is what we're discussing this week. Ogbenny on the right, not working for me, if I'm completely honest, at the moment. Want it to, and will continue to give him as much. Look, we haven't got a better option. So he's going to be our starting right winger, in my opinion. But I don't think he's pulled up any trees since he's arrived. I've just about lost my patience with Tom Cannon, as we've talked about last week, which I don't like saying out loud. But and again, these comments that I make and you guys make in the comments and everything like that, it's all said in context. It's not a case of, if Tom Cannon comes on against Derby and scores the winner, I'm still allowed to cheer. I'm still allowed to back him. But I'm just, as is anybody that's criticised him from the start, by the way. This isn't just like looking after my own back. I think it's a case of, ultimately, whatever we say, whatever opinions we have, and I want this to be a place where we all feel comfortable giving our own honest opinions. We're all blades. All blades, aren't we? And if things go right or things go wrong, then we'll experience it together. And you can be happy when... I was happy whenever Jack Robinson scored for Sheffield United, for example. That doesn't necessarily make me a hypocrite. I still have the same opinion of him as a player. But I was very happy when that happened. Or when he made a game-saving tackle, I was delighted. And I'm allowed to be. Just like anybody who criticises Cannon can do that. Anybody who criticises Ogbenny or even Louis Barry. All these players who you can question how they're working for Sheffield United. But if they do on the odd day, then we're delighted, aren't we? And even if they come good. So we'll see. I'm going to, quickly before I go into your comments, I'm going to go to the teams that I think will... Should I do teams? Should I do teams already before I do a bit of an opposition breakdown? Let's go to opposition first, and then we know what we're up against, and then we know where we're steering with the teams. So we're up against Derby County, and Derby 17th in the league, won the last two games, no mugs. I'll remind everybody that we won our last 2 going into Preston, so it doesn't mean unbeatable by any means. Very tight games, Derby's recent games. Let me just get up there. Have I got their stats up here? Because I was looking at it just before I came on. So, yeah, the last 5 games. First draw was at home to Charlton, 1-1. We know Charlton are no mugs. I know people will sort of say they're one of the poorer sides in the league, but I think that's a lazy rhetoric. I think it's, particularly if both teams are expected to be down there this season, then I think it's It's a game that both teams will will want and go all out for the win. So 1 apiece there against Charlton at Derby. They got a good point at home against Southampton. Southampton, who have been sticky, stop-start, haven't they, this season? But ultimately have some very good players in that side, and it won't be long before Southampton get it right, I don't think. They lost away at Oxford. This is the loss in the middle here, which obviously we beat Oxford. And, you know, that they'll be disappointed with that, Will Derby. But again, a tight game, 1-0. 1-0. And then the next 2 are 1-0ers as well. So they don't score many, they don't concede many, which might lead into my score prediction, and I'll probably counteract myself a little bit. But the next 2 scores are obviously 1-0 victories, and that were against Norwich City at home and QPR at home. QPR are a decent side this year, by the way. Their away record, though, isn't great. They've won 1, drawn 2, lost 2. It's not amazing. It's not terrible, but it's not great by any means. They've only won 1 away. You could look at it that way, but you could also say they've only lost 2. You know, it's stats and things like that are only right within context, aren't they? They've also lost 2 in the cup, but obviously you don't know the strength of the sides that they've put out. So John Eustace, good manager, rate him at this level. I think he's the reason for them being solid and much more sturdy at the back. I've put their key man as Ibu Adams, who I really like. Obviously, it'd have been easy for me to go with Ryan Brewster or Ben Brereton Diaz, who we know all about. But Ibu Adams, who I'm not sure whether he still captains them, but he certainly was their captain up until very recently. Centre midfielder, bags of energy, box to box, one to watch. They have been playing a 3-4-2-1. Ben Brereton Diaz as part of that 2 behind the striker, I believe. In some of the work we were doing pre-game. So yeah, that's a little bit about Derby. No mugs, but nobody is in this league, either. It's something that we keep repeating the same rhetoric. So what was the Blades team last time out then? And I think, you know, you look at the result and you think it's disappointing that obviously we played so well first half and then fell apart essentially. And it's the mentality is what's under the microscope, really. But the team essentially was Cooper in goal. I think it was a back 4 of Tanganga, McGuinness, me, and Burrows coming back into the side. The middle 2 was Peck and Gyro. On the right was Ogbenny. On the left was Andre Brooks, very impressive Andre Brooks. In the 10 was another very impressive Callum O'Hare. And Tyrese Campbell returning to the lineup up top. So that was the team that set up against Preston. And other than the first 10 minutes, I thought we were really impressive. I have to say, I thought we were really good. Really good against Preston. Tyrese Campbell, first half, unplayable in parts. And I have been as vocal as anybody about Tyrese Campbell this season. I still don't think he's fit because he did nothing really second half. But those 2 goals, those 2 Sheffield United goals, don't happen without Tyrese Campbell's involvement. And it were great to see him something like what we saw last season. And hopefully that's his confidence returning. And I'm hoping, obviously, the fitness comes with it in time. Because, as I say, I don't think he's fit. So what do I think will happen then with Wilder's team? Or do I normally go my team first or Wilder's team first? I can't remember. Let's have a little look. What do I normally do? I think I'll go my team first. Should we go my team then? I am making one change. I'm dropping Burrows. And it's a really hard decision. Really hard decision. I loved the first half performance. Well, after 10 minutes and just up to their goal. A lot of us were waxing lyrical about how well we played. And that shouldn't be forgotten, how well we played. It was the second half. And essentially some of the subs didn't work as well. So it wasn't largely the starting team that crumbled, essentially, even though they were on for the 2 early conceded goals either side of half-time. Or the 2 conceded goals either side of half-time. But that's the only change I'm making. Now, you could bring Samari in for Gyro, and I wouldn't mind it because we're at home and you can be a little bit more forward-thinking, I think, at home and press your game onto the opposition. I just think, yes, it's harsh on Burrows, and you would be concerned whether it does have an effect on him, but can we afford to gamble, firstly, with Burrows having another game like he did against Preston. But also, what message does it send to Sam McCallum, who has been playing really? And I'm a Burrows over McCallum man, if we're being honest. I think Burrows is a better overall footballer, and I think a lot of us would agree on that. But when you're going on form, and you're going on confidence and current, the current form going at the moment, I think you've got to go with the hot hand. And that is Sam McCallum at the moment for me. He was man of the match a couple of games ago, rightly so. That is my team. But will Chris Wilder agree with it? I think he goes one further than this. And I think he makes the same change. I think Sam McCallum might come in. Now, I may be wrong with this. We're stabbing it dark with these a lot of the time. But I got it absolutely spot on, by the way, for Preston. It was the exact lineup I said. These aren't like Mystic Meg predictions. It's just what I think might happen, essentially. I'm going Samari. I think, Wilder goes Samari over Gyro in the middle. Wouldn't surprise me if Gyro lined up. And to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if Burrows lined up. We'll know more probably after the press conference, which I think is due Friday. But yeah, I don't think there'll be many changes because I don't think there was a lot wrong with the first half. And that was the bulk of the team played that first half, didn't they? There were a couple of lapses in concentration, I think. One very good goal just before half-time and one very unlucky error. And, you can bemoan luck all the time, but I do think Preston played well as well, and you have to hand it to them for how they played. So I'll come to my score prediction in a bit, but I just wanted to see what you guys were thinking. So let's jump into the comments. I have rattled on for long enough. Jarlsy says, evening, Jimmy. Evening, pal. Hope you're good. Just make sure that's right at the top. Oh, it's not. It's not got Phil's commenting. So Phil Mulligan says, hello, Jimmy. My team for Derby. Cooper, Tanganga, McGuinness, me and... Oh, hang on. A 3-4-2-1. Tanga, McGuinness and me. Ogbeni, Peck, Gyro and McCallum. O'Hare and Brooks. And Campbell in front. Okay. Interesting. 2-0 win for the Blades. Up the Ramble. Top man. Paul says, hi, Jimmy Pal. I'm predicting a 1-0 Blades home win versus the Rams and a winning goal from Tom Cannon, mate. Up the Blades. Up the Ramble. That's where Gilesy comes in and says, evening, Jimmy. Harry says, El Shtko. Yes, I think you're probably right. That most of them are at the minute. Jack says, evening, Jimmy, mate. Hope you're well. Got my ticket and we'll see you all in Triple Point. Yes, mate. Love to hear that. Has to be 3 points, in my opinion. Loads of positives to build from against Preston and some negatives to get right. I'd go the same team as we played first half against Preston. Fair dues, mate. Fair dues. So you're sticking with Burrows and Gyro. The only change I've made, as I say, to my lineup was McCallum. Sam says, Blades. Nice one, Sam. Lewis with a £10 super chat. Thank you, mate. That's very kind of you. Up the Ramble, like and subscribe, everyone. Thank you, mate. Done some intel on Derby. Had been in a 3-4-2-1 until recently, according to data, then switched to a 4-2-3-1. I think I need to get you involved in some of the pre-match prep, mate. Think Wilder will stick and match them up on that basis, and we have a stronger group, man for man. I think the similar starting lineup, if not that very same. No fear of hangover from me. We'll grind out a stubborn resistance and win 2-0 up the Blades. Get Jimmy to 10k up the 5PB. Top man Lewis, a proud badge-wearing member of the five positive Blades. And that's very kind of you, mate. Thank you for your super chat. It's not expected or anything like that, but it's very much appreciated. Peake says, we've got to make the lane a fortress. We played well against Preston away. We should play better at home. 3 points incoming, 9 points from a possible 12. I'll take that. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. 10k incoming. Let's hope so, mate. We're not far away. Is there a special prize for 10,000th member? Where did I put those fake passports? Yeah, it's, to be honest, what I tend to find is, I don't know if anybody else on YouTube finds this, but you get to a certain, you have fits and starts. It's like a staircase, really. So we are at the minute a little bit stuck, and it's fine because it happens, and you know it keeps flitting between like 153, 9953, 9954. We're at that sort of level. But other weeks you'll get a huge spike. We got 50 subs just on a watch along the other last week, I think it was. So comes in fits and starts. If and when it happens, we'll be very grateful. In terms of a prize for 10,000, we'll never know who that 10,000th one was, really, if we're honest. But we have got loads, or I have got loads planned for hitting 10k. I think there's going to be some changes. I think you've always got to look at upgrading. I don't ever want to come away from what we are. I think, you know, don't worry, we'll never be polished and professional. I'll still be talking rubbish here, as always. But I do want to sort of expand our offering to Ramblers and Platinum Ramblers and see if we can do something a little bit. I don't want to say too much because I've got a couple of ideas. I've just been talking to, well, just mentioned it to Dave the Nose at Man Mountain, just to drop in with them too, just to see what their thoughts are, because I've got one particular plan which I think could work really well if we can get the permissions to do it. Exciting things to come. So stick with us, and if you're not already, again, please do subscribe, because it's absolutely, it means everything to get to that 10k. That has been the number for me. That since I started, it was never a serious thing, YouTube, and then when I switched over, it sort of built gradually and organically, and yeah, 10k has been the one that I'll never get to 10k. I'll never get there, and I'm not there yet, so that may still prove to be true. But it'll be a bit of a pinch me moment. I think that is a key number for me. Matt says, "Hey Jimmy, pal, hope you're good." I am, thank you, mate. Hope you are too. Really think this is a must-not-lose game. Coming off the last game, got a feeling Tom Davies could be back on the bench for this one. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Always have a little look for what Matt's saying, because Matt knows people. So if he's saying Tom Davies could be back on the bench, there might just be a chance Tom Davies is back on the bench. John says, "Good evening, Jimmy. John BBC, when are they going to give you your own spot?" Ramblers, who thinks Jimmy should have a press pass for CW's presser? Thank you, John, very much. I do. So I can answer this in two parts, sorry. BBC, they're not going to give me my own spot, nor would I expect it. I'm very appreciative whenever they like message or email or whatever it is and ask if I want to come on, because it's not expected again. It's and it helps us out a little bit. It helps the reach of the channel. So thank you to them. I think they do a brilliant job. So yeah, they are the originators of it was social media before it was social media, weren't it? The radio, everybody, they're just brilliant, absolutely great. And in terms of having a press pass, I've tried for one. I have asked the question, and you've got to be like a journalist accredited, like a traditional journalist, which is, I think, a little bit antiquated if you ask me. But they do make a good point. What makes me any different, and this is what I say this on the show, so I can't then pretend to be something I'm not, because I'm not a journalist. I'm not anything. I'm a lad with a microphone that talks about Sheffield United, and yes, obviously we've carved a niche out for ourselves, and we've made an amazing community out of it. But essentially, I haven't got a qualification that allows me that sort of platform. These are professionals that go in and ask Chrissy Wilder the questions. I'm not a professional. I know, I appreciate people might think I'm all right at bits and bats of what we do, but that was the reasoning, and I haven't really got an excuse to go back at him. I'd love to be able to do it, because we are a form of media outlet, I suppose. We are a social media presence. We are the most viewed Sheffield United fan channel by a stretch at the moment, and I'm very grateful for that. It's not lost on me at all. But, you know, we're owed nothing by the club, are we? We're owed nothing by the club. We just, you know, I'd rather not turn up to anything, and we get loads of information from him anyway, from the great journalists that do go and things like that, and then obviously the results follow. That's what we all want, isn't it? But thank you, John. That's very kind. My team for Saturday, says Matt. Cooper, Tanganga, McGuinness and me. McCallum, that's your back four then. Brooks, Peck, Gyro and Burrows. So you're putting Brooks back on the right. Okay. O'Hare and Campbell. 4-2-3-1. Or I would take Burrows out and play Ings and go 4-3-1-2. Okay. Interesting, mate. Good luck with getting the 2 up top, because it don't look like it's coming. Dave Morwood says, "Evening, Jimmy. I'm looking forward to Saturday. Positive we can get 3 points. Up the Ramble. Up all the Rambles. Up the Blades. Like and subscribe." Thank you, my mate. John says his team for Derby is 4-3-2-1. The Christmas tree. Tanganga, McGuinness, me, McCallum, Ogbeni, Peck and Samari, O'Hare and Brooks, and behind Ings. Oh, I think it's harsh on Campbell, but I understand it. Giles, he says, hoping for another 6 points from the next 3. Let's keep it going. Give Jimmy a like and subscribe, everyone. It's free for this amazing channel. Thank you, mate. And a great host. Our own Jim Bob. What a guy. Ricky, everybody's been very nice to me tonight. Thank you. There's no need, particularly since I waffled at the beginning for like 15 minutes about a note. But yeah, Matt says, well said. And yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. John says, 2 of 2 finishers for Gyro, for Samari, Campbell for Ings, Shackleton for Ogbenny, Burrows for McCallum, Tom Davis for Peck. Okay. You've got your team already sorted, haven't you, John? You know exactly what changes you're making and everything. Sam says, what do you reckon for Hamza Chowdhury coming back on loan? I think this could be a good move considering Tanganga could move back to centre-half and Chowdhury could fill in. So normally I am wary and slightly against linking us to older players because I think it's more fanciful for us as fans. But then it's different for me when Wilder's in charge, which has been very often recently, obviously. But because you can see it happening. So we were talking a lot on Hot Topic about Harry Souttar coming back. I don't know, and I talked myself out of re-signing Harry Souttar because we are so stocked at centre-half and I think the money could be better spent elsewhere, but it doesn't mean I wouldn't love to see him back in a United shirt, by the way, but I'm just thinking of the bigger picture. Hamza Chowdhury would be a second name that we're putting back in the pot, but we've seen him bring back like Ben Burton Diaz. And there's rumours that he's desperate to, or he was desperate for McBurney to come in, but obviously he wasn't the manager then, and Sayers weren't keen. So it's old names with Wilder mean something. He chases players for years on some occasions. There's some work, some don't. Ricky Holmes haunts some people still to this day. But, he's a long-term... Ryan Leonard's another one. He's a long-term admirer of a lot of players. I think Hamza Chowdhury came in last season originally as cover or competition, or even to partner Vinny Souza at times. Never really worked. Never really worked in the centre midfield. But as soon as he went to right back, he was the best right back at the club, even though I think we should have given Alfie Gilchrist more of a fair shake, in my opinion. I think Harry Clark did nothing there. Who else was there? Sariki, don't think pulled up any trees. Hamza Chowdhury was the most consistent right back we had, and he wasn't even a right back. If you're looking at bringing him in as a right back, I like it. I do think it gives you, as daft as this sounds with us talking about him being a midfielder who's converted to right back. Again, something we spoke about on Hot Topic, and I was talking to Russ about it. I don't think he gives you enough flexibility if you want to be fluid with your formation. And by that I mean, if you go to a traditional right back, which Hamza isn't, you could usually slot him in at right centre half if you went to a 3, like Tanganga, essentially. Or, like Sariki, you could push him on and be a wing back. But if we want to move away from a back 4, it doesn't mean we can't sign Hamza, because Hamza's a good signing and he improves us. So ultimately, yes, I would like to see Chowdhury back. But I do think he offers us less flexibility than if you signed a traditional... Jimmy Dunn, for example, was a name we were linked with. We could have had him as a right back or a right centre back. So if you go to a back 3, then Jimmy Dunn still doesn't have to come out of the team. You don't have to make a substitution to change your formation. Whereas Hamza, you might have to. You might have to make a sub if you want to change your formation, which isn't a deal breaker, but it just does. It's probably a tick in the cons column for me rather than the pros. So we've seen him in a United shirt. We know he can do the business. If he's available, I'm all for it. But I do think it'll come with some, it's not a perfect signing. Do you know what I mean? There's some players that you think, yes, he would be perfect. And this wouldn't be a perfect slot for me. It'd be a very good signing, though. Ian says, evening, Jimmy. You've done the thumbnail jinx again. Brewster guaranteed to score now. Honestly, I've been working hard today, and you'd have been proud of me. I've done a lot of the thumbnails, updating. A lot of people know that I plan a lot of my thumbnails out, or I try and get a lot of them done in the summer. But obviously the players and stuff like that, and a lot of the detail in the text, I can't fill in until close to the time, because you don't know what's going to be relevant, who's going to be, talk of the town and stuff like that. But I have gone with a lot of ex-Blades, as, there's McBurney were on there, John Egan, Tommy Doyle, Jack Robinson's one I've updated today as well for Birmingham. So yeah, they're all ready to go, mate. So yeah, I've jinxed it. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Let's get to 10k. Yes, not far away now, pal. Come on, people, subscribe. Let's get Jimmy to 10k, says Ray. Top man. Ray, long-time subscriber of the Ramble. Long-time Platinum Rambler. Strong supporter of us, mate. Really appreciate you. Evening all, we're back to being positive. Yes, why not? Come on, you red and white wizards. Up all the Rambles. Like and subscribe. Up the blades. It's amazing, isn't it? Because we were talking about this again, and I want to remind everybody of this. On 90 after 90, we were rightly really dejected. And I made a point of saying, even though I didn't feel like it at the time, we'll be all right next week. We'll be all right. And we'll be ready to go again. And here we are, 3 days away from the fixture? 4 days. And 3 days. Whatever days. I lose track of days, especially when it's half term and ankle biters are all over. We are ready for it, aren't we? We're ready for Saturday. Absolutely ready for it. I'm really looking forward to it. So Jack says to Sam, in terms of the Chowdhury comment, aim higher and bring in an actual right back. I'm salty just because we could have bought him. Preston only hurts because we threw it away. It's not the end of us, but if we continue to throw leads and points away, it'll be damaging long term. Turn those losses into draws. Absolutely, that's the first thing to work on. Chris says, season's a write-off for me already. Preston wiped me out, still not over it. Sorry to hear that, Chris. Hopefully, a positive result on Saturday will help pull you round. It's amazing what 3 points can do, isn't it? But we'll see. Peak says, I'm a positive blade, and in the Plats, it's 6 PBs. We can still turn this season around and make the playoffs. Top man, Peak. Love that. 7. I still don't know how to say your name properly. If that's supposed to be some sort of way that I can read that properly. Is it Lilted? I'm not entirely sure, mate. Sorry. Looking forward to it, Rams fans, but follow the Blades from living in Sheffield. Oh, Rams fan, but follow the Blades from living in Sheffield. Oh, nice, pal. Doubt Brewster will start. Eustace seems to favour Diaz right now. Interesting. Battle of the Ex-Blades. So what telling me? Jamie Dumpling. Jamie Dumpling was saying that Brewster's been playing off the right for Derby. Surely you're not playing Brereton Diaz off the right. From what I saw, when it was the 2 behind the 1, 2 behind 1, Brereton Diaz was on the left 10, left cam, if you like, as the kids say these days. So he was on the left-hand side, just behind the striker. Is that still the case? You'll have to let me know. Lilted. That's what we'll go with for now. No chance of playoffs. We are no good. Let's face facts. Dad, is that you? Is that you, Andy the Blade from Texas? Spoke to Andy the Blade today. And Eki out, Sal, and Layman Dave. Having a brilliant time. Thank you all that are asking after them. They're having a great time without me. HJ says, I think the Preston game was a freak result. McGuinness was injured for one of their goals. Yes, he was. Another was a wonder goal, and Burrows slipped right in front of goal. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. I think, from a Sheffield United point of view, you can justify the conceded goals. And, you know, I worry about the effect it has on the attitude of the players. But you can justify every conceded goal. You can also say, and I think we should say, Preston played really well. It's not a case of, you know, we were beaten by a much better team, because we weren't beaten by a much better team, but they were the better team on the day overall. We just didn't do enough. We could have done, and if our chances had gone our way, you know, Samari's chance, Burrows with the header at the far post where he slips. There were another one where Callaway that just can't get it from under his feet. We had our chances as well, and in football, you can go against the tide, can't you, and nick the points, as we've seen so many times, but I'm not overall concerned about it as an isolated game, so long as it doesn't affect the players. That's my concern. But we'll be right. We'll be right. Okay. Let's have a look. Loves Poison says Godfrey was playing for under 21s, so maybe he's in his plans. Maybe so. Yeah, he's played a couple of under 21s games now. Hopefully he's over his personal issues and can get back involved. Greg says, think they need to get at least 7 points from these next 4 games, knowing Coventry is one of them. Yeah, Coventry after this, and this is already planned in. So, we'll worry about that when we have to worry about it. Interesting. Wouldn't say Ivo Adams is our key man personally. We've only started firing on all cylinders since Sondre Langas has returned. Interesting. I really like Ivo Adams. That's interesting. Oh well, if you don't fancy him, there's a spot at Bramall Lane for him. Blades Ranger says, hi, Jimmy. I'm sure our Chrissy boy will get the tactics right. Me too, pal. Derby are no pushovers, but I think our squad is far better in all departments. O'Hare's on top form. Yes, he is. I can see him scoring again. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Callum O'Hare is a shining light into you at the minute. HJ says, my team for the weekend. Coops, McCallum, me, McGuinness, Tanganga. That's your back four. Peck and Samari, O'Hare, Brooks and Campbell and Ogbenny. Okay, I do think Sariki should get some time, as I think he's looked good when he's played. I think I'd rather have Sariki involved if we go to a back three. But yeah, I think he's been frozen out, hasn't he, essentially? He's not captain anymore, says Chris. Interesting. Lewis Travis is our captain now, but he's injured for 6 weeks. So Adams might wear the armband then. We'll have to wait and see. Jack says, all the loans are on trial for me. Ogbenny has really let me down, especially after all the talk. Barry was a risk. Samari seems to be getting it. When we go 2-0 up, kill the game off. Do you think Ben Mee is playing too many games considering the age? He's doing well to play that many games, I assume you mean. But a lot of people criticise, and it's easy to do it in hindsight, saying it was probably a game too far, the third game in 3, because it was 3 games in 6 days and Ben Mee played the full games, I think, from what I remember. Possibly. I don't think he was terrible against Preston. Some people have laid blame at his door for the Jebison goal, ultimately the winning goal. I think that's harsh. I'm not saying it's completely unjustified. I think Jord Motson was saying it. I don't mean to put words in Jord's mouth. Shout out to Jord, thinking about you, pal. So yeah, I think Mee got caught between 2 when McGuinness was injured, and I think he's going to he has to wait for the cross to know which man the ball's going towards, and by the time the ball's left the crosser's foot, he's too far in front. He's Jebbo and he can't get there, and he's unchallenged essentially to make it 3-2. I think it's harsh. Possibly though, James, you could look back in hindsight and say too many games for Ben Mee in a short space of time. It's a bit revisionist for me though, to be honest. Jimmy says, yes, it's must win. The next 2 home games are, and then we can write the Coventry game off if needs be. Home form comes first before the next break and visit to the Sty. So I'm just going to double check that I get this right. Right, yeah, it's QPR, isn't it? It's QPR. So it goes Derby, Cov, QPR, break, Wendy's. Ooh. Oh my God. Jack says, how isn't Campbell fit? What are we doing? I don't know. It could be a club thing. It could be an individual thing in terms of commitment. Could be both. We don't know, do we? We just don't know. Josh says, for a proper right back and 2 wingers, I would like to see us go for a top level. Go for a proper right back and 2 wingers. I would like to see us go for a top level centre back and a striker, and send Cannon out on loan. Yeah, I think the consensus that we came to last night on Hot Topic was right back and striker should be priorities. We're not convinced by Ogbenny either, so maybe a right winger as well if we can get something done about that. Cooper worries me this season. Not been the same since the playoff final. He's made 1 good save against Southampton. Seems to be beaten at every shot this season. Do we bring Davis in up the Ramble? Not for me. I agree with you though, Chris. I don't think he's been anywhere near the levels that we've seen of him previously, which is a real shame because I really like him as a goalkeeper. I really back him. I was a big advocate of us signing him. And I think he justified a lot of the calls to sign him as well last season. I don't think anybody doubts the ability that he's got. I think we're just all very concerned about his current form. I don't think Adam Davis is on the same level, if I'm honest. And I always feel really harsh because you need a reliable number 2. And I think in terms of not kicking up a fuss and coming in and doing okay, I think Davis is a good number 2 in a lot of respects. But I also think if it's a fair shootout and they're both fit, there's no way Adam Davis gets in front of Michael Cooper, in my opinion. Again, everybody's got their own shouts on that. Matt says, I think your daughter's right, pal. It suits you the bit. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Wife completely disagrees. It needs tidying up. Paul says, I think if Amos fit and Davis, they will both be in the lineup, up the Blades, up the Ramble. I don't think Davis starts. I don't think Davis starts because he just hasn't had the minutes, has he? I mean, that did happen against Southampton, I think, didn't it? But I'd be surprised. Ray says, biggest disappointment's got to be Barry. He looked good in pre-season, but the Fierce Championship, he just looks out of place, brings nothing. Sorry, but he has to go back in January. I agree. Matlock Blade says, looking forward to Saturday. Derby won't be an easy game, but we have the tools we need. Burrows out and Sam back in for me. I'm praying for a 2 up top setup, but I can't see Wilder changing too much. I can't either. I can't. That's the change I'm making. Aldi says, got to say, not looking forward to playing you, but I believe we'll beat you. 2-1, sorry, but I got to go with the Rams. Don't apologise, mate. Back your own. Don't mind that at all, because I think we'll beat you. I'll come on to my score prediction in a minute, but may the best team win, as Preston did other night, unfortunately. It's not always what's on paper, is it? You know, one of them. Fraser says, not suggesting Pekka's been poor, but I think it's worth considering Samari and Gyro as a pair. What do you think, Jimmy? I did think about it, to be honest. I don't think it's anywhere near a possibility because I think Wilder loves him. And if it's Gyro and Samari, I won't be devastated. I think Samari's shown enough in the last time he got a decent stretch in the last start he made, essentially, against Blackburn. I thought he did a really good job. And a lot of people are calling for a city rest. I'm not one of those particularly, but if he does rest him, then you know I'm not upset about it. Heard the press release Friday. I've heard the same, James. Joe says, no Yorkshire's finest this week, Jim. Were you and Cal hiding after a Leeds win and a Barnsley and Blade losses? No, to be honest, I meant to put something on social media to notify people we weren't doing one this week. Cal was out, apparently. He was out with family. No commitment is what I'd say. But, you know, we have to bow down to him because he's got 3 times the subs we have. 4 times nearly. We'll be back next week. Don't worry about that. We better not see any more silly fouls, says Jack. Josh says, I think we'll just try and pick up as many points as we can till Jan. And then there'll be a big shake-up. I think all the loans go back except Samari. Possibly Ogbenny. Young lads go on loan. And we have a big shake-up in January. Proper right-back. 2 wingers. I would like to see a top-level centre-back and a striker. Cannon on loan. Out on loan. I think it'll be a 4-2-3-1 and would like to see Samari and Jai in centre midfield. There you go. Nice. I think, in terms of your previous point, I think I wouldn't mind seeing Ogbenny go back. I think he'll keep him, if I'm honest. He talks about him quite glowingly. He's going to do. He's going to do because he wants the most out of him. But I'd be surprised if he sent Ogbenny back. Adams isn't the player to watch with Derby. Keep on Langas, that's the second one to mention it. Norwegian international, an absolute beast. Oh, one for us to have a look at then. Thank you, Chris. No, I'm only joking. Romeo Dunn says, let's hope it's a positive outcome. It's all gravy, baby. James says, I'm predicting 3-2 win. Come on the Blades. Scott says, evening Jimbo. Line up for me the same. Same for me as you'd go. McCallum in for Burrows. Would like to hope we bounce back here, but let's play a decent 90 minutes, not just one half. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Either that or use McCallum on the left wing later on if it means Barry's not playing. Okay. Message loud and clear, Scotty boy. Thank you, mate. Hey up, Jimmy says, Big Mal, I think in your position, every game is a must-win at the moment. You're not wrong, Mal. You're not wrong, mate. Hope you're good. Starting Burrows was okay, but he shouldn't have played the full 90, says Jimmy. I agree with this. Especially when we went 3-2 down. We needed McCallum, if only for fresh legs and his long throwing. Dave the Nose were a big... I think we even made a short out of Dave the Nose saying it on 3 Mardy Blades. Where was McCallum when we were struggling? When Burrows were clearly struggling and McCallum has been playing well, how did he not get off the bench? 200 watching, says Aldi, but only 52 likes. Please like and subscribe and share. Thank you, mate. With Gyro in midfield, 10,000 just around the corner. Thanks, Sheila. Yeah. Davis in for Gyro, the same side which started Friday. I'm not sure Davis will be fit. Disagree. Gilchrist was our most consistent, wrongfully treated, in my opinion. All opinions, Jack. I think he deserved to come out of the team when he did, but to then never get a look in again, I think was very, 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 very harsh. Very, very harsh. That's Samari with Gyro in midfield, looking for somebody to replace Ogbenny. Not easy. I agree with that. Sheila says, hope you're well, Jimmy. Not sure about Chowdhury. Fair enough. What happened to Yorkshire's finest this week, says Chris. Yeah, sorry, hopefully I've covered that for you now, pal. Like, subscribe and share the Ramble, folks. We are so close to the 10k. Who will be that 10k person? It could be you. It could be you. Thank you, Bri. Louis says, Hamza works really well in a 4 for us at the moment, I think. Releases the right half of the pitch in front of him. Agree, though, doesn't suit a formation change. An Alfie type for that. Alfie, obviously, for those that don't know, went on to sign for West Brom this season, or this summer. £1.5 million. Jamie says, since you were so judgmental about me not doing Movember, why don't you do it, Jimmy? Because I've already got some bum fluff Fanta. And I wasn't judgmental. I was just astounded that you are 19 years old and you've never had a shave. Astounded. Amazed. Bewildered. John says, not been overly impressed with Jaff, probably because he's playing out of position. Starting to be impressed with McGuinness. 2-0 on Saturday. Let's get 10k by bonfire night. Oh, 50 subs in a week. Can we do that? Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Let's hope so, mate. Let's hope so. I'm going to have to get making some compilation videos, aren't I, of like rambles gone by and stuff. We are getting a retro ramble as well. I haven't forgotten that. Look at me, still being positive. Get that lane bouncing. Let's get that lane bouncing, says Jack. We need to make it a fortress and a place teams fear to play at. I'm pretty sure Jebbo clipped McGuinness in the build-up to their third. I see 9 points in the next 4. But I think we can get something from Cov. Interesting. Is Jord not well? No, Jord's fine, mate. Jord's fine. You're not alone. Lots of Rams love Ibu. Adams too. Puts in a proper shift, but does like that technical quality. Interesting. Look at you, having a bit of a Rams love in. Don't mind that. Don't be rubbing it in, though, on 90 after 90 if you turn us over. Jack says, Cooper's form isn't any different from the rest of them. It'll come. My worry is he keeps getting beat through his legs, bottom corners and top corners. I think Samari and Gyro will be another Souza and Hamza. Yeah, possibly. In terms of not working together, I think you mean. Cooper, Mogger in our chat, is a bit of a fitness guru. I think he's just dipped out of the chat for a little while, but he's still a Platinum Ramble. I'm sure he'll be back. But he's convinced that he's packed on too much muscle, Cooper, and he's not as... his reactions aren't as sharp because of it. He can't get down into the corners quite as quick because he's put too much muscle mass on just from the naked eye. Might be something to that. Might be something to it. Chris says, maybe that's CW's problem. He won't drop the favourites. Seen it too many times, in my opinion. Every time Davies plays, he crumbles like a rich tea biscuit. Cooler King says, evening, Jim. Excuse me a sec. Excuse me. I feel a bit sorry for Louis Barry. He's clearly not what you need at the moment, but if he was at, say, Cov, a more vibrant, attack-minded side, we'd get to see what he can really do. I'm not sure, you know. I'm not sure, Cooler King. I agree with a lot of what you say, but having watched Louis Barry fail to make any sort of impression at Sheffield United, I don't think it's the style of football. I think it's the level. I think he would be a better fit in a counter-attacking side where he can get in behind, because I don't think he can beat a man with the ball at his feet, if I'm honest. League One might be it. League One might be it. And I don't like saying that. I hope he proves me wrong in a Sheffield United shirt. Of course I do. But I think a lot of blades will tell you similar, to be honest. I'm 27 soon and I've never had a shave, says Jack. Are you kidding? Is this a thing? Some males just don't grow facial hair. I was not aware of this. Apologies for my naivety. Right, no need to expose me like that. Sorry, Jamie boy. I am doing your Meet the Plats video at the minute. Very good. Very good. I'm just updating that. Matt says, a lot of people have got Ogbenny in their team. What has he done to be so below par? That's why I would play Brooks and then play Burrows on the left. Brooks, I don't think he's anywhere near as effective on the right as he is on the left, because he's very predictable as a right winger, but I think he's done really well on the left-hand side. I don't think we've got anybody better than Ogbenny on the right, unfortunately. It's the best of a bad bunch, I think, at the moment. We've not really solved that problem for a long time now, have we? Chin up, Jamie. Puberty will finish soon, says Jack. Can we get a live sub update on how many is left needed to 10k? Go on then. Let's have a look. We are on 9956 at the minute, so 44 to go. Thank you to everybody that's subscribed to the channel. Incredible. Paul says, hi, Jimmy, mate. Think we Blades will win the Rams 1-0, but they play 2 up top, pal. Up the Blades. But play 2 up top, pal, sorry. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, mate. Tim says, hi, Jimmy. Hope you're okay. I'm good, thank you, mate. Hope you are too. Thought I'd send this. I sent this already, so sorry if it's a repeat. 1-0 Blades on Saturday. Hope to God we never see Cannon again, but in Wilder I trust. Very strong from Tim, who's normally very patient with Blades, but gone in strong on Cannon there. Interesting. Jack says, Cooler King, it's not that he's bad, he's just very weak and gets bullied a bit. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Tim says this non-shaving thing might not be referring to the... Oh, Tim, I expect better from you. It's a family channel. And Lilted says, to save you from the struggle, the 7 is a T. Oh, tilted. Oh, tilted. Nice. Okay. I'm good with that. Thank you. Of course it is. Of course it is. How have I not seen that? But anyway, that's by the by. So, before I wrap up, because I've gone longer than I normally go on these things, actually, but shock. Absolute shock. Score prediction. Now, I said earlier, derby games are notoriously tight. And they have, even in the last 5, they've what? It was 1-1 with Charlton, 2 goals. 1-1 with Southampton, 2 goals. 1-0 loss to Oxford, 1. And 2 1-0 wins. So, hardly any in the for and against columns going in for derby. However, they are playing Sheffield United. And Sheffield United's recent for and against column has been busy. So we have, what is it? We won 3-1 and then we lost 3-2. So that's 9 goals, if my maths is right. 9 goals in the last 2 games. And because of that, I think there might be a few goals here. And I'm going to steal Lee Edridge's prediction. And I'm coming out and just saying it because he said it on Hot Topic last night. And I can see it happening. I hope it happens. Well, a part of me hopes it happens for the result. I think Sheffield United win 2-1. And I think it's obvious how it's going to happen if this is going to come to pass. We will go 2-0 up and Derby will score in the second half. And then it will be backs to the wall all the way and a horrible last 30, 35 minutes, whatever it's going to be. And we'll just about see it out and we'll all come out sweating, exhausted, relieved more than delighted. Because that is the Blades way. That is how we do things as a club. So let me know what you guys think. Shout out to Lee for the the prediction that will undoubtedly come true. There's just a few more coming. Jack says, Tim Walker, trust I get a bit of fluff on the chin and lip. 2-0 Derby, says Aldi. Jack says give over, but he's a ram. He's a ram. 3-3, he says. Okay, fair dues. Bryce says, like, subscribe and share the Blades Ramble, folks. We're so close to 10k. Who will be that 10k person? It could be you. Nice, Bry. In Tufty we trust. Till we grind a win out, says Paul. Litana says, been meaning to join for the longest time. Finally got round to it. Keep up the great work, mate. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Just become a member. Thank you, Litana. Thank you, my mate. Very much appreciated. Meet halfway, Aldi, and 4-3 Blades. Jimmy, why would you say that? I'm not going to be able to look. Oh, dearie me. Mark Meldrew says, evening, Jimmy. Hope you're well. Up the Meldrew, up the -2. Chris Wilder is our gaffer. He's Winnicott King. Litana says 1-0 to the Blades. Probably a scrappy early goal and then an 8-1-1 formation for the rest of the game. You heard it here first. Very similar to what I'm predicting as well, to be fair. Or Lee's predicting, if we're honest. 4-1 Blades. You are not a negative, Blade Mark. I know it's a gimmick thing. But 4-1 Blades. Campbell 2, O'Hare and Peck. I love it, mate. I hope you're right. Can't see it. We shall see. Anyway, we're going to call it there. Thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. When am I next back? I'll be back I'll be back tomorrow on Football Therapy on Ramble FC. If you're not already joining us there, all 4 hosts will be in the building tomorrow. So we'll see you there. Really looking forward to that one. We're looking at the championship so far. The surprise packages, the letdowns, and all the rest. Everything else that comes in between. And then I'll be back on the Blades Ramble live on Friday, I think, at the moment, for Hot Off the Presser. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards! Come on! Up the Blades!